Hello, hello, hello. Uh, it's my is my audio working fine? I was having some issues here trying to set up everything. Yeah, just check it. It sounds fine. Uh, Let me know if everything's working good. I had to update uh a lot of stuff here on my computer, so please, uh, you guys, let me know if everything is fine. Oh, oops. There you go. Uh, cool. Ah, okay. So let's get it started. Let me know if the music on the background is not too loud. And I am just doing some stuff here. Welcome. Uh, Hello, Jefferson. Tabaco normal. Normal tobacco. Uh, Welcome, everyone. Please get yourselves comfortable, grab a drink, and yeah, let's talk about UV mapping today and a little bit about the topology that I made. And yeah, it will be more like a technical talk today, but a very important one. So I hope you guys like it. Uh, cool. I am just checking some stuff here. I I thought I had updated this guy. Okay. Okay, so UV mapping today. Buenas, Ian, ¿cómo estás? Buenas noches, Sebastián Fernández. Estoy bien. ¿Cómo estás? Uh, okay, so I have here my Mr. Krabs. Now with proper UVs and topology. So let's talk about that. And I want to talk a little bit of UVs and show some things that I consider when I'm working on them. There is some important stuff to consider when doing the UVs for the garment, t-shirt, and pants for this guy. And for the rest is pretty straightforward, I would say. But yeah, it's important to get comfortable with UVs because if we rush this step, we will find some annoying issues during the look dev work, and we don't want like any stretching. We do want some nice uh, like resolution for the textures. So all of that it's like connected with the UVs. So it's the kind of stuff that stays under the hood, but you need to get comfortable doing that because yeah, it's part of the job. Uh, Part of the job. So yeah, so let's start first. Uh, talking a little bit about the topology. I started the topology on last live stream. I skipped live stream last week because I had to update my computer, install new stuff, Windows 11 update, and some hardware was needed for that as well. So anyway, if you guys, I usually get a lot of questions about my computer specs. So you guys will find on the screen, I think now. Yeah, so I have this is my computer. Uh, Nothing fancy. I think like my upgrade was on the Ryzen and the motherboard, but the graphic card it's from 2020, so it's like a almost old one, but it's it suits well. It's fine. I can do some cool stuff with that. So yeah. So let's talk about the topology. I have this guy here. As you can see, I I made I followed the same idea from the previous live stream about the flow, supporting edges, some flow happening around the mount, for example. This is super common when doing like human topology. I had to adapt, of course, because this face is super specific for this character. Uh, I try to keep it simple so we can see here on the eyelids. There is no need to add like crazy stars or pinching uh, in the main areas. Just a few stars on the top here, 3 point stars, nothing crazy. What else? For the eye, the pupils, super simple stuff. Actually, there is some uh, stuff here that should be different because I don't want the triangles here. There is a lot of debate about triangles in the topology, but it's just like I don't like them very much. So let me think about removing them. Maybe these guys here can, or yeah, if I remove one and skip one, I will need to remove the main one. So I don't think I like this. Maybe I can just Ctrl F and grid fill, and yeah, I think I like this. Let's give it a little bit of smooth on the vertex. Okay. We need to mirror that, so I will delete this guy, add the mirror, and then okay. So we will need to update the UVs for the eyes. They were, I think, together here. Let's double check. Yeah, pretty much the same. So uh the back area here will not be important, so we can scale down something like this, and then I can use. I downloaded this amazing plugin called a Mio 3. It's a free one for Blender. Amazing plugin for UV stuff. You can find it online. I will update the video description with the link. But amazing plugin. So or add-on or whatever you prefer. Uh, so I can use some tools here to mirror the UVs. So let's leave this guy, the cursor in the middle, and then I can select the eyes and symmetrize. Okay, so I think we are good. All right, so talking about the topology. Um, Nothing too crazy. I think that the thing I spent most of the time was uh the pants. So I decided to split all those main uh piece, pieces of fabric so I could have more of these. I I have the solidify here. So first things first, for the garments, pants and t-shirt. Let me grab the references. I always keep them single-sided, 99% of the time, because I will apply the textures on the single-sided versions, and only during the render I will enable the solidify like this. And why I do that? Because it's way easier to like control my geometry being like single-sided. So when I start to pose the character, I will not have these overlapping uh, polygons from one side to another. I can save a lot of time in the UV mapping as well because I only have the single-sided, so I don't need to add like seams on the edges and all of that. Uh, the downside of having single-sided stuff is the hey ghost, hello, how are you doing? Ghost, Conrad, Conrad the goat. The only downside is that you will get some stretching on the edges, but they are usually so minimal and so hard to notice that it it's fine. So you won't uh, go if you don't go like this to do a render, you should be fine. So this stretching, not yeah, it's stretching on the edges. Uh, they should be good. I think time will tell. There is a lot of back and forth during uh, the UVs, the UV mapping. So if we see later on the road that we need to add the thickness and unwrap again, yeah, we will do it because at the end we want some nice, uh, cool results. So, what else? Yeah, single sided geometry for the garments, and I noticed that I had to change kind of hidden setting on the UV on the subdivision modifier. So here on UV smooth, The original setting, it's UV smooth, keep boundaries, I don't know, and I changed it to keep corners. And that's because there was some small stuff being stretched at some areas, at some specific regions. So keep corners worked fine for me. This character being like a very cartoon character, I pushed the thickness of this uh, pants like higher than usual. So if that was like a more realistic fabric, I would go like more subtle with the thickness. But since it's like a cartoon character and we are going to look like in contest with everything, I think this kind of thickness is fine. So that's another good point about having the solidify modifier, because we can control the thickness at any point. If I had this applied here, I would have some annoying time in order to change the thickness here, because I would need to just rely on modeling tools and the edges would go crazy. So yeah, I really enjoy having the solidify for the garments. What else we have here for the garments, for the topology? I decided to do the manual work for the hands. I showed on the past live stream the trick of doing topology, retopology in ZBrush with the polygroups and ZRemesher, but I was not very happy with the result, so I just made it by myself here. So I had control where to add my stars. You can find it here, 5 point stars, and I enjoy this result more. But it wasn't wrong. There is the zero measure option, but it's like, since it's a personal project and I have time, I I was in the mood to spend some extra time on that. Um, Still talking about the single-sided stuff, we have the Solidify also for the belt. However, not sure if the belt will work fine with the Solidify, because the belt might get some extra kind of details, especially on the edges, like leather being like cracked on the edges and some uh, like scratches and stuff. So because of that, because the edges of the belt will have such specific details, I think the stretching will be worse here. I am still thinking about that. Let's see once we start the look dev. But yeah, I mean, it's totally fine to work single-sided, and then just bake the thickness later. And what else? What else we have here? Or this shirt, I like to merge everything together from the same object. So we have like the sleeves here, even though they are not attached with the topology, because I will later pose the character and move around these sleeves. I decided to merge them together. Same thing here for the pants. I have this guy and I can move around, and I made these tiny metal details for the pants that I found on some of the uh, images from internet. So I have no idea the name of that, but there you go. But I thought it would be a nice detail to have, and especially with these pants being these pants being so big and cartoony, having like extra details on that, I think would be cool. Okay, what else? We have a tiny button here. It has the the lines here, the tiny lines. The lines are not. That's weird. They should be. Did I rotate that? They should be like this. Okay, whatever. So, um, I didn't make UVs for that because it's such a small detail. I have been playing with um, geometry nodes for the seams, the stitches for the pants. So I have these guys here. They are controlled by these parameters. I watched a few YouTube tutorials for that, and they are pretty easy to transfer to different stuff. So uh, that's kind of nice because if I decide to add a new uh, line of stitches here on the side, I can just create a new curve and apply the geometry nodes. So yeah, is it still like there's still a lot of exploration happening because I am thinking if I which stitches I will add on the texture and which ones I will have like geometry. So maybe the bigger ones I could keep geometry just so they look more like they pop up more. But yeah, I still thinking about that. I will not like add geometry for the stitches on everything, but just exploration. I was curious about how to make that using geometry nodes. So yeah, it was a way to learn a new thing or two. Okay, what else? What else? Something I made just for fun here on the bottom eyelid. I created this blend shape, or in Blender they name it that shape keys, so I can control the position of them. Look at that. So this allows me to play around with different expressions. If I had just this option here and I try to pose that to the neutral position, it would take some time and it would be a bit annoying. So I made this just to have like an option and also to open the UVs on this position. So yeah, we do have some stretching happening when the shape key is disabled. So I am still thinking about this. Not sure if I should open the UVs because it will be stretched. Yeah, my English is terrible today. Sorry. But it will be it will have some stretching depending on the pose, so I can explore having a second UV later for this guy, and then I can enable the second UV depending on the position of the eyelids. So yeah, just playing with some stuff. I had to, because of this new option, I had to make like a hole here on the face. We didn't have that before, but if I want to show a different render with the eyes connected to the face. These holes would play important uh, role for the design because we do have them visible in the original character. So I think uh I had a shape key, but I think I lost it at some point. Controlling the size of these eye sockets, I can do it again here. Let's try something simple. Let's select. Come on. Okay. Okay. And then I can do something like this. And then we have, there you go, another version when we render the eyes without the bottom eyelids. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of fun to play around with technical stuff. Some people don't like it too much, but I enjoy. It's kind of taking a break from the other part of the character. So we have the mouth here. This blend shape is just for look dev purposes. So if I render the teeth, they will be visible here. I made just very simple ones. And yeah, what else? Any questions about the topology so far? Uh, yeah, nothing crazy happening here. I think it will work fine. I am thinking about the density of these polygons. Maybe I will need, yeah, I will need to check the displacement and export and render to check if the displace will look nice, because sometimes I need to like have uh, higher density for the uh, polygons depending on how much detail I want to. Even even though I add the subdivision during the render with many different levels, sometimes the size of the low poly version, it messes with the displacement. So yeah, it's like back and forth with this process. So it's part of the job. Okay, so topology is done. I'm happy with that. And then we started the remapping. Let me take a look on the chat. Taviano, nos conhecemos trabalhando no Filmes. Lembram como se fala em português ainda? Opa, e aí? Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, cara, eu lembro da galera da Oak, mas eu não lembro de Anderson. Aí é foda, foi mal. Anderson. Não tinha nem apelido não, cara. Porque, pô, o pessoal lá tudo tinha apelido. É... Fino, Chico, Dilson, Ardilson, Fon. Os apelidos eu lembro, os nomes me pega. Lucas, hey, guys, a bit late, but I'm here to enjoy until the end. Welcome, Lucas. Glad to have you here. Cool. So I think that's all for the topology. So let's talk about the UVs. UV mapping. I have here with me two amazing add-ons in Blender. One I bought like a million years ago. It's the UV Packmaster. They have been updating the add-on a lot of times during the years. They always release new updates. It's super fun, super cool. I, to be honest, for this, Character, I didn't see myself using a lot this add-on because I think I would use that more on like bigger and more complex assets, like maybe doing environments, doing a house or something like this, or hard surface stuff like a car or crazy machines. And that's because the main stuff here is about packing, so we can pack the stuff uh, with some amazing tools. So I will give like a quick example. Let's take this one is a paid add-on, but the Mio 3 is a free one. So if you uh, want to have both, go for it. If you just want Mio, it's amazing as well. So UV Pack Master, just to give an idea of the power of this add-on, I will tell that there is plenty of options in the add-on that I am not familiar with. So keep in mind that there is more stuff that I could show, but I will just give an basic idea. I will like uh, pack my stuff in all my character. I will run a pack in 5 tiles, and then I will use this heuristic search that I think it's a more powerful like algorithm for the calculation. And let's enable rotation just to have like a different layout, and then back. Oh no, I don't want the back on vertical. Should be this one, back. So it will run, and there you go, the magic happening. So one click, and then you have amazing backing happening. So yeah, on top of that, you have different tools. You can like choose the rotation of the islands and lock them here and run the pack. You can spread the stuff on different uh, layouts of UDIM sets like this. So yeah, this is an amazing add-on. So I recommend. If you I don't think it's that expensive. I don't know, I bought that like uh, a few years ago, so I don't remember. And Mio, I will call that Mio. I don't know if the spelling is correct, but okay, Mio 3. I found this one because I was curious about having. I wanted to push more the layout for this character because, to be honest, I am usually lazy when it comes to UV layouts. And to be honest, I would say maybe, not sure if this is like a hot take, but maybe UVs are a little bit overrated, at least for animation, because there was a time that we needed like symmetric UVs and very specific like orientation and stuff, and that's because before having those crazy look dev softwares like we have today, like Mari or Substance Painter, we had to rely on opening the UVs like in Photoshop and painting on top of the UVs. So I understand having this kind of uh, like polishing when you need to work with the UVs during the look tab, but nowadays with Substance Painter and other stuff, you you can get very lazy, not very lazy, but you can ignore some stuff during UVs and still have um, comfortable workflow with your stuff. So why I'm saying that? Because like this example, this UV set, it's something that I would make, for example, for freelance work or for a company or for a professional project. Because when, of course, when you are working in a bigger project, you are working with more people, and you need to consider that more different people will jump into your stuff later, and then check like everything depending on the situation, if they need to find something or update something. So if you leave this stuff like easier to people, to other people to find and understand, and like more organized, you will make more people happy. So yeah, think about that. It's like, so it's a bit annoying, to be honest, when you jump into another um, person work and you find a lot of crazy and messy files. So try to keep your stuff organized, and the best way to try to test that, it's like personal projects. So here I made it in a way that we can understand what is happening. So we have the face on two UV sets. We have the arms on two UV sets. We have the arms together with the legs. They're together because the legs, they are so small, and it doesn't make sense to have them in another UV sets, because when you look the character as a whole, it's nonsense to have like such big UV sets for this small geometry. So the arms and the legs are together, and then we have the face and the nose together. Together, I mean, in quotation marks, I would say, because they are together, but yeah, split in two different UV sets. For the eyes, we have here, for example, eyelids together, and also with the mirror applied, they are symmetric. And then we have the inside of the eyes. So we have that like eyelids and then eyes. And the eyes, they consist um, in the pupil and the main eye. And we have two UV sets for the t-shirt together with the button. I will explain a little bit more about the design here of the the UV's islands. And we have another set for the belt. The belt is together with this very hidden geometry that will play the undershirt hole, undershirt part. So it's super simple. I just add the UV set like this together, and the teeth, they are together as well. Each single tooth, they are here, symmetry applied, and of course the pants here, two UV sets. Okay, so um, yeah, so there is a few key points to consider when doing the UV mapping. I want to talk about that, and I want to show some examples of what makes the UV a nice UV and what makes a UV like not too good. And I would say the main stuff would be text, textile, tactile density. Is that the word? Spelling tactile density? Yeah. And like the size of the islands, the relationship between them, they should have the same uh, like the size of each one. And the stretching, of course, you don't want stretching in your UV, otherwise you will have stretching textures. So like this is not something that I still a bit worried. I will take a look later and see if I should unwrap on this pose or keep like this. Okay. So all right. Uh, so let's start with the seams. Like where I add the seams when I'm doing the UV mapping. Let me remove the solidify modifier here and we can see what is happening. So I usually um, look for the most visible like hard edges on my silhouette, the the biggest like change in the direction. So for example, here on the hand, I was at first considering to add the seams here, but then I move it here. Let's see, we don't have like too much stretching happening, so it's fine. Uh, of course, I like to add sometimes seams in the middle here. For the arm, I have like a seam more hidden underneath here. So the thing about the adding the cuts, the seams, is that you don't want to add like too many of them. So you should avoid adding like crazy amount of seams because it's just like not um mm, like it just makes things more difficult, when working with the islands and the UV sets. And if by any chance you need to paint some stuff rather than like paint some stuff on the UVs for some specific reasons, and then you have like a lot of different islands, it will make your life harder. So try to find like the main cuts that you want during your UV work, UV mapping. All right. So what else? Here on the face, we usually have a very standard cut around the lips here. Um, what else? Yeah, there's the symmetry. I also like to cut the face in half. Sometimes I like to keep the face without the cut in the middle. I just cut like the back, but I wanted some extra space, so I just went and made a full cut in the middle uh, edge. And yeah, I think for the seams, that's pretty much everything. So for example, here for the belt, I add some seams on the corners like usual. And yeah, some try to hide the seams uh, whatever you can. So it's kind of hard to do that depending on the uh, model, and it should be fine because you shouldn't see any seams in your texture during the look tab, because we have like the option to paint on we can paint directly on the geometry rather than the open UVs, and we can use always like triplanar textures. So this kind of we have so many tools today that helps to hide the seams, but it, if by any chance you will get some, if you need some extra work to hide seams, it will be nice to have them on more hidden areas like this one. It's behind the main camera angle, and if I need to fix some seams, I I can work on a few ones. So that's why having like not too much seams, it's helpful because it gets easier to fix them if needed. Okay. All right, all right. What else? What else? I think that's the main stuff. I have some notes here. So the main stuff: seams, stretching. Okay, stretching. Yeah, it's good to have notes because otherwise maybe you'll forget. Stretching. How do we check stretching in your UVs? We have here, for example, in Blender, but I'm sure Maya and other softwares have similar tools. We have here, we should enter the edit mode, and then on the top right inside the UV window, we have this option called UV stretch. If you enable that, you will see colors in your UV sets. So let's take a look. So I have a little bit of like the colors will be like this. Blue is good and red is danger. Danger, danger. You know, like Ross screaming on Friends. So if you have some crazy stuff happening, the colors will tell you. So let's, for example, do some crazy stuff here. You know, the colors, they go from blue to green, yellow, and red. So I think it will be better to show an example here. Let's just unwrap this guy again, clear seam, and just have one single cut here, mark scene, and one single cut here, mark scene, and unwrap. Is it still blue? I'm surprised because I think, oh, okay, yeah. So we have, there you go. I think that's why, because we have two different um, like visualizations for the stretching. So we have the area, and we have the angle. So if I'm not mistaken, angle would show you the amount of I think angle it's about the stretching. So if we stretch the stuff, it shows different colors, and we have like area that I think is also stretching. Yeah, that's starting to get confusing. So to be on the safe side, check both because I think I have been working with area as well. So yeah, I think area should be better because we do have the stretching here, and then yeah, we have a better idea of what is happening. So yeah, I don't know why angle it's like another option, but you get idea. When not sure how to use, area should be uh, the best option. And we can check our textures with any random uh, UV grids, and we can see some crazy stuff happening, for example, here inside the eye sockets. And then if we go with the stretching colors, we can see it gets like warmer here, you know. So this is an option, interesting option to check the stretching in your stuff. And I have been using that to control my stretching. So you will not get, I think, 100% always, because you have like some minimal stretching sometimes. But yeah, you can see here, like for example, some areas they show like some gradients with the green color, and that's expected because I used some like the straight tool to push more like the just like the design of these shells. So usually they would look something like this, but I decided to have some straight cuts just to help with visualization and stuff. But yeah, it's not like mandatory if you want to avoid like straight areas in your UV mapping. Should be fine, especially for organic stuff. So I might update that if I feel they're not looking nice with the textures applied, but so far so good. And this guy here, you will see it's the most like stretched one, and also because this area visualization, it will point you the difference in the scale of your islands. So if you scale some islands too different from the rest, the color will change. So I think, yeah, I think the angle is about stretching, and area it's about the scale everything is sharing. So why is this guy like smaller than the rest? Because this guy will be not visible in the camera in the render. So I just decided to add a seam here, not visible from the like the t-shirt. It's on top of the seam, so that's perfect. And then I just changed the scale because it's not going to be visible, so I can just like go crazy and do something like this. And why should I be careful when changing the scale of the islands? Because we want to keep the textile density. I just forgot how to say this word, textile. I think it's textile. So sorry if I'm wrong. So we want to keep the same like scale for everything, because if you go crazy and change the size, like whatever you prefer, and you have like some crazy stuff like this, and this is why it's important to check your stuff with some grid maps, because that means you are getting less resolution in some areas and more resolution in other areas. So if this is happening in some areas where you can see in your render, the texture will be like awful. You will see the seam happening because the resolution will change, and some parts will have like the low res look compared to others. So this is why we should always, there's a trick in Blender. You can select everything, right click, and search for, where is, I have a quick shortcut, but it's back islands. No, not back islands, it's average islands scale. So I think should be under UV menu, the window, and then average island scale. When we click that, everything gets the same scale proportionally, and that's great. And then after that's done, I can just select and say, okay, this guy will be hidden from the camera, so I can just scale down so I have more room for the rest of the stuff that I do want more resolution. Even the interior of the mount, I could have decreased the size, I think. But yeah, I was a bit afraid about the seam on the lips marking the change of the resolution. So yeah, it's fine. We have room for the islands here. Okay, so uh yeah, so always check the size of your islands and keep them like proportional, and don't be afraid of just decrease the size of the islands from the parts you are not going to see in the renders, okay? And so you could ask, well, why don't you just delete these guys if they're not going to be visible? And the answer is maybe I will find some issues with the subsurface scattering if I don't have like a closed mesh, and this is kind of I am not sure. I never test like subsurface with meshes with and without holes, to be honest. And I not even sure if that's even real, but there is some stuff we do just because we learn it that way, and yeah, that's fine. It's not like going to kill me having an extra polygons here. I can always like use a mask modifier if I want to save a little bit of memory during the renders and just hide these. I can mask with the mask modifier, add a group, add a mask, and then, well, it's hidden. It's not going to be calculated during render. But yeah, that's why it's like closed mesh for that. And okay, we talk about, so another important thing. If you are going to pack your stuff, Blender has an internal pack tool you can play around if you don't have any UDIMs. But do not make the islands touching the edges of your UV set. This will cause some issues with when it's exporting uh, maps, and ZBrush goes crazy when that happens. And we also have this situation where during look dev there is this filter that I like to use a lot. It's called blur, and it will of course add a blur effect to your texture, but the way it works, it will read your UV set to add blur. So if we have something like this and we add blur in Substance Painter during the look dev, the blur will bleed from one island to another. So that's one of the reasons having some room between the islands it's safer. So you don't need to go crazy and just have like one islands per set like this, but we have some options when packing to add the margin. So just leave some interesting margin when packing, and yeah, you should be fine. So yeah, two things to consider: never touch the edge of the UV uh, slot, UV set or whatever, and leave some room between the UV islands. Okay, just in case. If you find issues later, you will probably find, myself included, I will find some issues on those UVs. Of course, it's always some back and forth process. But once you find issues, have like a quick way to fix those issues. So have a 3D file just for the UVs, and then you can export them, save new versions every time you do like a big update, or just copy and have some backups here. So if I go to Substance Painter and find some stretching during my work, okay, I will need to update this face. I will go here, run a few updates, export again, and if everything is fine, I will have the current stuff from Substance Painter transferred to the new UV set, and I can update also the displacement from ZBrush with the new view set without having major issues with the transfer or the need to reproject again stuff. So organization will be your friend, especially when we talk about 3D for production. And also, I have here my geometry. Everything has the proper name. We have underscore geo at the end for geometry. We have the curves at the end for the curves. Ignore those dollar bills here, but yeah, curve and geo. So organization will help you and will help your workmates if they need to jump into your stuff. So yeah, you don't lose anything when adding organization. I mean, you lose some good time with the organization, but it works um, 100%. So don't rush this step, please. Uh, yeah, you will thank me later when you find a nice model ready when you start the look dev. So yeah, so islands, seams, stretching, textile density, or whatever that's called, the margin as well. So let's talk a little bit about the clothes, the garments for um, the UVs for them, because we do have some specific things to consider when doing the UV mapping for the clothes. So I will also show some examples of what I'm talking about. So let's just make a few copies here. And let's say I will just have this guy. I have the seams apply the cuts applied on the same place, but this time I will just unwrap and leave like this. So in theory, we don't have too much stretching. We don't have like anything crazy. We have some we have enough margin between the islands. We don't have the islands touching the edges of the UV set. So in theory, should be fine. But the when we work with fabric, it's a bit tricky because uh, there is like a lot of stuff related with the orientation and the edges. So let's compare the lazy version and the proper one. And let's go then to export this. I will just disable this shape key. It's the button you see there in the middle. So I have symmetry, and we are going to apply subdivision for Substance Painter. Two levels should be fine, but we are not going to export the solidify or the thickness to Substance Painter, because remember the UVs are based on the single-sided mesh. If we apply solidify, the UVs will be overlapped, and then Substance Painter will go crazy when running ambient occlusion, curvature, normal maps. It will be a mess. So export just the single-sided version. So let's check the materials. We have UV check, and let's port an FBX. Test t-shirt, select objects, and I think that's all. Let me check the chat. You speak Portuguese in live streams too? Kawa, mm, mostly, yeah, for this series of Mr. Krabs, I'm doing like only English, but I talk with Portuguese anytime you guys have something to say or ask in Portuguese on the chat. And like all the others live streams on my channel are in Portuguese. So just for a change, this series is focused. It's like mainly in English, but feel free to ask in any language you prefer. I will try to reply. Um, Always cool. So let's start the new. Oh, Arthur, my friend, Arthur Melolateral, can you check the size of my UV? Oh, that's what she said. It's a beautiful, beautiful UV. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's t-shirt test and use UV tie workflow. Okay, so here we are in Painter. I will just change the shader settings to something that shows the back face. So I think PBR metal should work. Okay, we have both UVs, and then let's drop just a random fabric shader here so I can show what is happening. So let's try something that has more visible weaves, and let's try the fabric cotton jersey. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. Let's crush the colors a little bit. Fabric color, let's put some gray. Let's add some levels. Okay, and actually maybe something like this. And let's see the bottom one. It's the good or the bad. Okay, let's do a blind test so I can hope I can prove uh, what I am talking about. So let's check this guy here. So I have here the orientation going fine. You see the weaves, they are following the edge of my t-shirt, my geometry. I have the same thing happening here. So the edges, they follow the weaves, they follow the edges, and that's interesting. I have some stretching happening here. I could fix that later. And let's compare the rest. Let's see what's happening. Remember, I have a seam add to the back, a vertical seam. I don't see that here. And I didn't add the tree planner. It's like UV projection. And the cut, it's invisible. So this is some solid work, some good stuff, because I don't see my seams. I have another seam on the side, and I can't see it here. I see, if I go closer I can see it, and I see a little bit of stretching that I should fix, but usually should be fine because we are not going to render these clothes like this. But it's something to fix, of course. And okay, and let's ignore the sleeves for now because they will need some different approach because of the specific um, geometry. But yeah, so this is one example. I would say this is the the good version, the one that I have with the more manual work on the UV set. Let's see what's happening here. So we have some. random direction on the weaves, and let's suppose, okay, that's like super easy to fix. We can just rotate, apply rotation. So if we start to rotate, it goes crazy because the rotation will be different for each UV island. So we have here the right side, the weaves, they follow the edge, but then when they go closer to this uh, corner, they start to change direction. It doesn't make sense. The left side has a completely different orientation, and that's like annoying because we could try like fix the orientation with masking, but that is like a lot of work for something that we can fix when doing the UVs. And we can like fix, let's suppose we can fix the rotation here in the look dev part. We cannot fix the distortion here. This is like the UV, a new UV issue. So the only way to fix like distortion is updating the UV. On the cuts, on the seams, I can 100% find the seams here because the weaves, they change direction as well. On the back, remember we had like a invisible seam here. Here we have this like super random uh, orientation. And even if we try to fix this, like it's like, man, impossible. It's not a good UV work at all. And that's why UVs are super important, especially with garments, because garments, they rely on the real world structure. When a person or a machine or whatever, they will cut the fabric pieces and then uh, do the stitching to connect everything. So for example, we can, that's why, what's the name of that fabric software? Marvelous Designer. That's why Marvelous Designer, it's super fun because you will have the UVs based on the cuts of your fabric. And then I mean, that's great because you save a lot of time and you rely on this uh, like this fundamental thing, this real world uh, um, uh, like law, like structure. So that that's why it's important to have some time and apply some, add some love to the clothing. Because for example, i I have been like doing UVs for characters and ignoring the orientation like forever. I can't ignore the orientation for my UVs for the characters and organic stuff because that never caused me any issue. But with the garments and the fabric, that's a different conversation because we rely on these weaves going through the texture, and that's like the main thing about the fabrics. We need to have some that's reset rotation. We need to have some like uh, some organization on the structure of the fabric. So even if I rotate 9 degrees here, the weaves will respect all my work. So you see the weaves, they are following the edge of the color. This is like amazing. And I chose, I decided to uh, have this edge like straight to respect this, and then I could sacrifice having the other edge with the straight UVs, because this edge on the inside will be hidden for the camera, so whatever, I can just leave whatever distortion I want, but the edge on the front will be visible. So that's why I have these like straight edges on the corners happening here, and then we also have the shells like very straight here for the t-shirt. So this is like a painful version of UVs that will require a lot of work to fix, and this is a more uh, interesting option that will save a lot of your time. Okay, so how did I make those fixes? For example, that's where the Mio 3 came to action, because I have found some amazing tools here to help me with the stretching. So let me show what I did here. I First of all, I can like work mostly on just one side of my mesh, and later just mirror the UVs. But in order to do that, I need a very symmetric geometry. And remember, I had the button like connected, and this uh, area on the front was like not symmetric. I made a blend shape. I actually made again the like the topology, and I had like a fully symmetrical version, like the neutral version. It's like 100% symmetric. And then if you want to check if you have like symmetric stuff, a quick way to do that: edit mode, select half of your mesh, Control Shift M, and then you will mirror the selection. So if you have any single like polygon, let's just change this one a little bit, and then you want to check. Oh, my my edit was symmetric as well, so I should do something like this, and then we get a warning. Uh, like any numbers of faces mirrored, and then a few ones failed, and then the selection will show which ones are not mirrored. So yeah, amazing way to check. So it's symmetric, and then I have a blend shape with the symmetry broken on the front, right? So during the UVs, the UV mapping symmetric model always, always when possible. Okay, and I have the cuts here. Like I said before, I have chosen some like hard edges like this inside the color, some on the like these ones are not like hard edges, but I had to add them to get more room for the shells on the UV sets. So yeah, I had to add them. So yeah, let's work on one side only. That will save our time. Let's hide, let's hide, let's hide, let's hide. And then I will start deciding, okay, which corners do I want like more like straight, symmetric? Because remember, the seams, they will be visible, and if I don't have like some specific corners straight, I will get this uh, ugly effect with the seams going like they will go straight for some parts, and then just move to another direction, and it doesn't make sense considering the structure of the fabrics. So I will start with the color here. So I know this guy here, this edge, will be super important to have like straight edges because it's visible to the camera. It's something that will be like easy to spot if we get stretching. So I want this guy like straight edges. So without the plugin, I would usually need to do some manual work. Like I could rely on selecting the edges and scale 0 and move, and then I get some stretching, and then I could also try the grab tool and move some stuff here, but this require some patience that I don't have, to be honest. It can be done, but I don't have the will or the time to just sculpt my UVs every single time I want straight edges. Okay, I will sculpt my UVs very often depending on what I need, but for this kind of work, it's just like it's not a smart way to work. Okay, so I have found my new friend called Mio3, something like that. And then I can select the edges that I want straight and I can click straight. And it's done like magic. Super straight. Remember to check uh, your texture, the grid texture. And yeah, we can check, for example, the line we can move and just have like a line with the uh, yeah, we can have a line aligned with the edge, if that makes sense. The pronounce it's so hard, but you get idea. So we can check here. Okay, the this uh, line is going fine with the rest. We have let's add the solidify so we can have a better idea. So yeah, there you go. A perfect line here going all along the edge. So this is something nice to see when working with garments. Okay, so we have now to fix this other edge here. This is a bit more tricky because if I select these and go straight, I lose the other edge. So I will need to pin these edges here with shortcut P. How do I know if they are pinned? Um, Selection, change to vertex. If they are red, they are pinned. If you want to remove, Alt P and then unpinned. So P, they are stuck. You can't move them. I mean, of course, you can move with selection, but you can't move them with like brushes. I mean, can you? I thought you couldn't. Well, they are pinned. Well, whatever. It works for what we need, so they will not move now when we apply this straight. There you go. So yeah, there is some tiny adjustments that you should do here. I think I had a better luck doing like this. So this guy straight and then ping these ones and then this guy straight. Yeah, well, it's still a bit messy. We can fix that with some. Yeah, this is not making sense at all. Should be easier. Okay, let's explore another option because we have a few nice tools here. So for example, if we select four different vertex and we click on the rectify, it will push the edges and make a perfect uh, like not square but like a perfect uh, shape, rectangle or whatever. So this is also super helpful. Depending on the shape that you have, it's an overkill because it will have some stretching, so you can fix that uh, with like some relax uh, tools. Yeah, yeah, it's these tools are like not working at all. That's crazy. But anyway, uh, I from what I remember, I did the straight edge here, and I think I did the straight edge here as well, and it was fine. But let's try one more time and just hide because of course the stuff that we want never works when doing live stream. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's way better. So we have just a small fix. So it depends on what which stuff you select. So you can do just no, it didn't work. I hadn't I yeah, I should have pinned these guys here and then this straight this. Okay. Pin is straight this. Yeah, okay. So like I said, some small adjustments here, but way better than doing like all the manual work of making it everything straight, you know. So you still have some tiny adjustments, but that's nothing compared to time, the time we save it with uh, the tool, you know. So yeah, there you go. There's some stretching that we want to fix, so we can fix that with some sculpting or moving around a few edges, but you get idea, right? So what else? Let me check if yeah, that's okay. So I think this shows well the idea behind. I can use this move of the grab tool to relax a little bit some stuff, and yeah, there you go. There's still some tweaks to do, but you get idea. And that was the color for the like the main stuff like this. It's easier because I will just like uh, focus on the square shape, so I can select. The other tool that is fine, that is cool to use, is the gridify. So it will transform your selection to like rectangle or just make every edge straight. And yeah, that's great because I have like the main stuff here already and I just need to scale in order to match, uh, avoid having like distortion, you know. So if I feel there is a little bit of distortion, I can just scale on the specific axis like X or Y, and yeah, Super easy. This one is a bit tricky because we have the distortion when the button is applied, like the button uh, here. So there is a little bit of back and forth that I will try. Not sure if microrent UVs will hold up well for some fabric textures, but next week we start look dev. So be prepared, call your friends, call your family, um, call everyone, rent a theater, of course, and enjoy because we are going to make Mr. Krabs wasted, destroyed, crashed. Normalize? No, normalize not. Gridify. Yeah, this gridify looks worse, so we can apply here. Once we get like rid of the distortion, the size we don't need to worry about that now because later we can select and just run the average island scale, and then we have proper scale. Okay, so yeah, like it looks like it's yeah, it does have some stretching here that I will fix, but yeah, the main stretch that is bothering me is this one. But I think if I focus on some like relaxing a little bit this guy, pushing more something like this, I think it should be fine. So of course we are going to have like the that issue with the weaves not connecting to the edge, but since the edge is like hidden um, underneath the color, it's not like a big deal. So yeah, from now on it's just like doing some manual uh, stuff. We can also select and use relax, so it might help with some stretching on the corners, on the edges. This relax option here, and once I'm fine with the UV mapping for half of the geometries, I will mirror this. So I can either uh, mirror inside the same UV set or mirror to another UV set. So since I want more resolution for this geometry and better like uh, more space for the UV islands, I will split these UVs into two UV sets, UDIMs if you prefer. So let's do that. I will just like move this to I can just ignore that. I will grab, let's suppose I'm happy with this orientation. Let's keep the orientation correct to everyone so they will face the same direction so we don't get any issue with the weaves when we apply them. And then let's rotate this guy, rotate this one, scale, average island scale, okay. And then we are going to use the pack master. Why not? We have it. So let's pack. Let's keep rotation enabled, disabled. So yeah, that's a tricky uh, naming. So the rotation checkbox is not enabled. Okay, that will avoid the tool changing the rotation of our islands. So let's run a pack and keeping one island. There you go. So we have a good pack. We have good margin, and then I'm happy with that. So now I will mirror the rest of the stuff, and to use the mirror from Mio 3, I have been. It's a bit tricky for me. I am not familiar with the all the options, so it might have an easier way to do that. But I am usually using the 2D cursor for the mirror. So if I drop the selection here, I will mirror the rest of my UV shells to the other side. So to avoid any like not perfect mirror, I will go to view and match like a specific number, like zero point 0.5, so it gets in the middle correctly. Yeah, zero point 0.5 on the x location axis actually. Yeah, not zero point 0.5, point, 0.1. So if I am going to mirror that inside the same UV shell, I would place the cursor in the middle like this, and then symmetrize. Okay, the symmetrize works from right to the left. Not sure if that's available to change, but yeah, symmetrize, symmetrize. There you go. So yeah, it's working in the same tile because I have the cursor in the middle of the tile, and the middle of the tile is zero point 0.5. Okay, whatever the location of the y-axis, we only care about the x-axis. So since I'm going to mirror that to another tile, I will add one here. Select this guy. Since the mirror works from like the mirror will apply the stuff to the left side, so I will keep my good UVs to the right, like this, and then symmetrize. There you go. So I have two tiles fully symmetric. So do I need symmetry when adding when having two UDIMs? And to be honest, I don't think you need that. Like, there's no point for me having symmetry, but it looks nice and it looks organized. So I think that's a plus, because if I need to jump into the textures later and find the tiles from my t-shirt, I can find easily if I see them like this, exactly the same, just mirrored. So yeah, it's better for me, just organization. But if you have like the same scale, the same orientation, but different locations, actually, no, because okay, you you will get some different stuff happening, some subtle changes when you add the weaves, because if you get different position, the weaves will not match like 100%, but the difference will be so small, the difference will be so small that I don't think the location would be an issue. Only the location. If we have different rotation, of course, this will result on this weird difference in the orientation of the weaves. If we have different scale, of course, we will see like different scale on the fabric here. So it doesn't hurt to have like symmetric UVs, you know? It might be overkill, but I I don't have reason to risk any um, issue later. So why not? Just keep it symmetric. And once I'm ready, I will split my UVs. So I think I kind of skipped that part in the beginning. Oh no, I talk about that. Yeah, so the split, I have the separation of my UVs. The UDIMs, they are split based on the different materials. So I have all these UDIMs only for the skin and the body. This this one this one is like the teeth. Every single tooth it's here, and the rest, each one is like specific set of garments. So this is like the belt and the undershirt. These ones are the pants, and these ones are the t-shirt and the button. So yeah, it's way easier to work like that because when we start doing the look dev, we will select the shaders based on UDIMs like this. So okay, I have my group with the shader for the fabric, and then the group I will just select what I want. So this will be so nice because it saves time, it keeps stuff organized, and then we have like groups for each single material, and we have each single UV tile for each material and stuff and so on. So organization makes our life so easier, so easier. That's why uh, it's not safe to rush during the topology or UVs or whatever. Take your time. Uh, Look at this process like a break from the artistic, the fully artistic uh, part of your project. And if you're not like motivated doing this kind of work, try to think that having this kind of skill will help you a lot when it comes to work and like jobs and work with freelance projects or work in companies, because when we talk about work and career, it's not only about artistic vision. It's about organization, communication, and all this kind of stuff that we usually uh, tend to ignore when we focus mostly on like personal artworks. So if you have some nice skills for UVs and organization and that kind of stuff, uh, you can be sure that you will have like a lot of friends uh, in the in your career and in doing your work, because yeah, people will be super happy to grab your stuff and see like organization, you know. So yeah, that's my advice. So I think I have covered like most most of this stuff about the UVs and the um, topology. I had some notes here. I think I have mentioned it like everything. Uh, I will update after finishing the live stream. I will update the description of the video with the Mio 3D add-on and the UV Pack Master. And remember, the Mio 3D, it's not 3D, it's Mio 3 only. Mio 3. It's a free add-on. So go support the guys or the guy behind, the person behind. I don't know. Go support them and the loading and I don't know, give a nice review. I don't even know if there's like a review or a way to give a review for this add-on. And the other add-on is a paid one, UV Pack Master, a nice one. but it's paid. So I don't know. It's not like expensive, of course, but uh, yeah, you will know which one suits better your stuff. If you can have both, that's even better. I really enjoy the packing tools from the Packmaster, and I love it the tools for the unwrap tools from Mio 3. I don't think Packmaster has unwrap tools, but yeah, I'm not familiar with the all the tools here. So many parameters and so many tabs. I go crazy. I don't have the patience to check every single parameter here. So yeah, maybe I'm just losing some good information here. I don't know. But yeah, I hope. Wow, 2 hours already of live stream. I thought it would be a short live stream because I was going just to make a breakdown of the stuff that I already have. But yeah, that's it. We start look dev next week. So please, uh, well, I don't know, stop by, check the live stream or whatever. Feel free to join, ask questions. The nice stuff is going to start soon, and I can't wait to check. Actually, yeah, just a reminder. Next week, live stream will be Wednesday because on Thursday I will be super busy playing Ghost of Yotei all day. So I will not be available for anything. And then because of that, live stream will be Wednesday. So yeah, support the channel, share the live stream with your friends, and join the Discord channel, link on the description. Check my website, check my social media, and yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone that um, that stayed there on the chat, and thank you Arthur, Tabaco, Lucas, Kawan, Conrad, and everyone else, Sebastian, Jefferson. See you guys next week, Wednesday, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, almost Friday. Okay, so uh, yeah, take some rest and enjoy the weather. I don't know. So William A, I wanted to play Ghost of Yotei, but I don't have a PS5. Oh man, I can feel the pain. Uh, Tu é BR? Sou BR, pô. Sou BR, sim. Essas lives é em inglês, mas as outras era tudo BR. Yeah, I can feel your pain, man. I just got the PS5 last year, and yeah, I spent some good time playing all the games I didn't have the chance before. So yeah, but remember, if you do nice UVs, people at work will be happy. You will get more work. With more work, you get more money, and with more money, you can buy a PS5. So if you want a PS5, do nice UVs. That's my advice. Olha, sou teu conterrâneo aqui de Ribeirão Preto. Olha, Ribeirão Preto, um salve aí, mais um de Ribeirão. Feliz demais de saber que alguém daqui chegou tão longe. Valeu, Taosso. Eu não acho que Taosso é teu nome. Eu arrisco que não seja, mas é o nick, né? Então, um abraço, Taosso. De Ribeirão, terra do café, terra do pinguim. Pinguim que eu nunca pisei uma vez, mas incrivelmente é um ícone da cidade. Bom, mano, infelizmente chegou aí no final. Tô dando um salve pra galera. Thank you, everyone. See you guys next week. And. Mas eu odeio fazer o vídeo. Cara, o segredo é esse: ninguém gosta de fazer o V. Então, se isso serve de consolo, faça, porque ninguém gosta. A gente faz porque precisa. No mundo ideal, o Vs não existiriam. Mas a gente não tá no mundo ideal, então quanto mais a gente investir nisso, mais é, importante vai ser para nossos projetos e para a carreira, principalmente, para o trabalho. Então, a parte técnica ela é muito importante, igual a parte artística. Então, fica aí a dica. Eu não gosto de fazer o V, não. Porra, eu queria estar aqui é, fazendo ruga no bicho, né? Mas, pô, fiquei fazendo V aqui até 1 da manhã outro dia. É foda, mas você vai pegando gosto. É chato, mas tem que fazer. Então, manda comprar um energético aí, manda bala. Vila Virgínia, olha só. Cleiton Batista, um salve. Ah, estudando animação pro seu canal. Da hora, da hora. Tamo junto, então. Fala porque tem que fazer. Faça porque tem que fazer. Ó, igual o Paulo falou. Tem que fazer, mano. Então, é, ironicamente, se você se dedicar muito e tiver uma experiência bacana com look dev, com UV, com textura, e um dia entrar na Disney você não vai precisar fazer UV. Lá não tem isso. Então, se serve de consolo, existe a luz no fim do túnel. Dá pra viver num mundo onde você não faz UV. É lógico, lá a gente tem que fazer UV pra roupa, né? Mas na maioria dos casos não precisa. Então é gostoso não ter que passar por perrengue de UV. Mas é isso, mano, tá? Faz parte aí. Mete a cara, tem que fazer mesmo. Não tem escapatória. Mas, mano, tô falando tchau já tem umas meia hora. Então, ó, deu 2 horas redondinho. Então, pra terminar já com o número certinho na live. Tamo junto. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Arigato. Sayonara. And see you guys. And bonjour. No. Tchau. And see you guys next week. See ya later. Thank you. Bye.